Zoom cats and now surgeons performing surgery, allegedly, during a traffic court hearing. Okay, what's going on in the Zoom world? What is going on? Now, the Zoom cat, and I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about when I say the Zoom cat. Lawyer showed up on camera, had to say I'm not a cat. It was pretty hilarious. That was a couple weeks ago, kind of rolled out in the beginning of February. People saw it. I'm sure a lot of law students and attorneys as well got a chuckle out of it. And it seems like everybody kind of did to a certain extent, because we're all kind of struggling sometimes with technology and Zoom and these types of things happen. So it was funny. So there's a lot of national interest obviously in it. But this video is about not only kind of the interest, but also the outrage, because now there's a video that came out. If you search around YouTube, you can see it. It's from a public court traffic hearing in California where a plastic surgeon was allegedly operating during his traffic court hearing. I don't know if his patient was getting a body BBL liposuction. Who knows? I'm guessing his patient was not happy to be now a topic of national news, because when you see him raise his glove to be sworn in under oath by the clerk, there's blood on his hand, on the glove. So yeah, I mean, it seems real. I mean, again, I'm not a California attorney. I'm a Florida divorce attorney. I do Florida divorce. I just am interested by these stories and kind of looking at that they just keep coming up. So there's the interest factor, and then there's the outrage factor and something like that. Because again, as a divorce attorney, I'm not going to do a 2-day trial and be laying down on a dentist chair getting a root canal. I think that would not be good for my client. I don't think my client would be ecstatic with me that I just presented a trial from a dentist chair. And I guess that's not a complete analogy, but I think you see the point that you want your surgeon to be laser focused if they're doing whatever they're doing plastic surgery wise, wherever it is, and whatever was happening there. And likely none of that will come out. Hopefully it won't. Definitely for the patient as well. I'm sure they want their privacy from it. But to go on to a public hearing and to basically be there being sworn in and say, no, the surgeon in the back can jump in for me at any time. I think it's a really good example of what not to do for hearings. Just because you're not showing up to a courthouse, it doesn't mean that you show up in your bloody plastic gloves in the middle of surgery. I'm blown away by this, but again, it's out there. I suggest to look around YouTube and see what else is out there. A lot of major media networks and things have shown some stories on it. So it's out there. And this is just as of the end of February that this story came out, that it happened in California. So I as a practicing divorce attorney in Florida, I do this stuff every day. Not surgery and going to court, but I go on Zoom hearings. I had a Zoom hearing this morning. So I had a Zoom hearing the day before. So again, it's normal for me, and I always know there's going to be technological difficulties. But again, the number one thing, and I think the interest factor, so we're talking about outrage and interest. The interest, why is it, these types of things kind of percolate to the surface and it catches, major news, is because there is a respect for the judiciary and for the court system, because it does work. A judge's job is excruciatingly hard. I myself personally would never want to be a judge because of the decisions that they have to make. I prefer to advocate for my client, to do what I do best. But a judge, I mean, truthfully, like in what I do in divorce law, they're making a decision, if it's a custody case, that can impact that child's life for for the rest of the child's life. It for alimony and equal distribution, these are long-term issues that are not always easy to make. So a judge's job is hard. So they're afforded that right. When I go to court, I always say to the judge, Your Honor. I dress appropriately, and I tell my clients to as well. But we've seen a lot with the Zoom hearings. I can't count how many judges have said, can you please pull over your car to somebody in a hearing? Because they're just driving. Yeah, I'm here. I'm good. I'm here for my hearing. Yep. Oh, hold on. Honk, honk. Just pull over. You're going to get in an accident. It's a bad idea. So again, that's a pro tip. Don't drive during Zoom hearings if you got court hearings of any kind coming up. Sit in a parking lot. I mean, there's a Walmart out there. You could sit there. Probably some Wi-Fi in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot or something. Just sit. Show some respect. Show some deference to the court. When you go to court, you dress up. Maybe you put on a tie or you put on your Sunday best, and you approach the court with some type of respect. And I think they're afforded that. I think it's rightfully so, because they're having to make very tough decisions, because you couldn't make the decision. If you can come to an agreement, you don't need a judge to make that decision for you. Or if you have to go through whatever, if it's a criminal process or having to sue somebody for something, then obviously you're asking for the court's help. You're asking for their help. Or the court's trying to enforce the law. So there still is a reverence there for the laws. And I think that's why when some of these things come up, people are just so shocked and outraged. And we've seen it around Florida, definitely in the beginning of Zoom, people kind of rolling out of bed, jumping into a hearing, still being in bed, and kind of zooming in from while they're still laying there in bed. A lot of that has kind of calmed down a little bit. But these other ones that percolate to national interest, Zoom cats and surgeons during actual alleged surgery, it definitely pulls people's attention. Now, as far as the Zoom cat lawyer, it's just funny. Again, it's. I think every attorney's had some odd situation either happen to them or they've seen it in court. If you go to court a lot and you practice in the courtroom, during these Zoom hearings, so you've seen interesting things. So it's a funny, there shouldn't be any outrage with, I am not a cat. Yes, sir, you're not a cat. And but I think it's great because it also helps, for law students and lawyers as well, and people that want to get a little bit of, little insight into the legal system, that it's always changing. It's interesting. But myself, when I look at it from the outrage factor of, don't be doing surgery, to just basically, just more the interest factor of a Zoom hearing with a cat filter, I guess really all you could say to that is just meow.